Welcome back, students. Welcome to the class. In the today class, we will discuss the various importance of the coordination compound and the various factors which will determine the stability of the complex. The complex are of immense importance on account of their application in various fields. During complex formation, there are drastic changes in the properties of the metal ion or ions, and these changes in properties are made use in the application of the metal complexes. Metal complexes are very helpful in analytic chemistry, in metallurgical operations, to determine the hardness of the water, in photography, electroplating, various biological processes, in plant growth, in medical fields, and in many more other important activities like use of catalyst, etc. And so one by one we will take the various uses of the complexes in our life. First is about the metallurgical operations. Now you know that silver and gold are extracted by the use of the complex formation. Silver ore is first treated with sodium cyanide with continuous passing of the air through the solution. Silver dissolved in as a cyanide complex, and pure silver is precipitated by adding the scrap zinc. Okay, this is popularly known as Forest method, Mac Forest method. In here you can use both silver and gold. Here the silver has been shown, so the ore of the silver is treated with sodium cyanide, so you have a complex that is called as sodium dicyanido argenate. After that, what can happen, the sodium sulfide is transformed into sodium sulfate and colloidal sulfur by oxidizing with the air, and then the complex of the silver is treated with the zinc. Now you know that zinc being more electropositive than the silver, it can displace the silver from its solutions. So zinc will displace the silver from the solution. And what do you have? You have the now the native silver and gold also dissolved in NaCN. Means if there is any pure silver or gold is there also, it also get dissolved as a complex. Okay. Now silver and gold can be precipitated by adding the scrap zinc. You know that. Now one more process that is popularly known as bond process also involving in purification of the nickel. Nickel is extracted by converting into a volatile complex, that is nickel carbonyl, in that case tetracarbonyl nickel. The complex on after the formation on heating get decomposed and you are able to get a purified nickel. Similarly, in case of photography also, in photography the image on the negative is fixed by the dissolving all the remaining silver halide with hypo. Hypo is sodium thiosulfate solution. So this hypo will form a complex with silver, and what will you have? You have a soluble complex of the thiosulfato here with the silver. Okay. So that is the old technique. Nowadays digital technique nowadays are being used to get the pictures. But in the older days, when you have to use the solution, the excess of silver bromide is removed by using the hypo solution, and by that manner a complex of silver is formed. Similarly, in electroplating, the metal complexes releases metal slowly and thus gives a uniform coating in electroplating of the metal on the desired object. Cyano complex of silver, gold, copper are used for the electroplating of these metals. Are you getting that or not? Because a lot of the inferior metals Okay, for the ornamental purposes, a very thin sheet of silver or gold are plated on that, and for that the cyanocomplex of these compounds are being used. Similarly, in case of plant growth also, complexes have a very important use. Plant requires a number of nutrients for healthy growth. Essential nutrients include iron, zinc, copper, manganese, molybdenum. For example, the deficiency of the iron brings disorder in plants known as iron chlorosis. This order affects the yield of the fruit from the citrus tree. So iron plus 3 state present in the soil is mostly hydrolyzed to form insoluble ferric hydroxide, which cannot be absorbed by the plants. So to overcome the deficiency of the iron, the complex EDTA along with the iron 3 plus is placed in the or put in the soil. This complex is soluble in the water and readily enters the roots of the tree and reaches the various parts of the tree, and the plant will give you a good yield. Similarly, in case of medical field also, the complexes have a very important use. The complex of calcium with EDTA is used for the treatment of lead poisoning. The lead readily replaces calcium in the complex, and the lead EDTA complex is finally eliminated from the body in the form of urine. The platinum complex, that is cisplatin, popularly known as, is used as an anti-tumor agent in the treatment of the cancer. So you see that in every sphere of life, complexes are very, very important. Similarly, everyone knows that many biological importance are already known and already taught to you. Chlorophyll, the green pigment in plant, is a complex of magnesium. Hemoglobin, the red pigment of the blood in our cell, which carries the oxygen in our body, is actually a complex of iron 2 plus. Vitamin B12, which we require daily for our healthy growth and effective functioning of the body, is actually chemically cyanocobalamin, is a anti-pernicious anemia factor, and that is a complex of cobalt, and cobalt here exists in plus 3 state. Okay, all these are the coordinate compounds with macrocyclic porphyrin ring. Okay, so a porphyrin ring is there in which a cyclic, you can say cyclation, it is called as a that central metal. There will be 4 nitrogen on the corner of the various cyclic rings, and it will form a bond with the iron to give you a iron 2 plus porphyrin ring. Okay, so porphyrin ring is a very complex cyclic ligand. All these coordinate compounds with macrocyclic porphyrin and corin ligand. Other biologically important compounds which coordinate metal ions are enzymes like carboxypeptidase A and carbonic anhydrase. They are all very important because enzymes, all you know that, are very, very important for the effective functioning of our body. Now there are many coordinate compounds which are used as catalysts. Now in analytic chemistry, the complexes found their most usefulness. For example, the presence of CO2 plus ion, that is cobalt 2 plus ion, is tested by adding the ammonium thiocyanate solution. Okay, so it gives you what? It gives you a blue color. Remember that the same thiocyanate will give you a red color with iron. I am repeating once more. With CO2 plus, that is cobalt 2 plus, thiocyanate will give you what? The thiocyanate will give you a blue color complex. But with the iron, it will give you what? It will give you a red color complex. Memorize that in your mind. Similarly, cobalt 2 plus also being tested by adding potassium ferricyanide when a reddish brown PPT is formed. Okay, so a red brown PPT is formed here. Remember that only for cobalt 2 plus you have potassium ferricyanide. For all other cations, we use potassium ferrocyanide. Okay, so this is the very important thing you have to keep in your mind. Okay, memory is very important here. I am repeating once more. Cobalt 2 plus will give you a blue color complex with thiocyanide, while iron 3 plus will give you a red color complex. Similarly, cobalt 2 plus when react with potassium ferricyanide, it will give you a red brown color complex. Okay, and cobalt 2 plus is the only ion which give you potassium ferricyanide, zinc 2 plus, copper 2 plus and Fe 2 plus. All of them react with potassium ferrocyanide. Now the presence of zinc 2 plus is tested by adding potassium ferrocyanide. Here it is ferri, that is Fe3 plus. Here it is ferro, that is Fe2 plus. Okay, so what happens there? So when zinc 2 plus ion react with potassium ferrocyanide, it forms a white bluish PPT. It forms a white bluish PPT. Okay, if in place of zinc it is copper ion, then it will form a chocolate color complex. Now nickel 2 plus is also detected by adding dimethyl glyoxime. Dimethyl glyoxime. Here you have to keep one thing in your mind. What is that one thing? That in that case there is also formation of hydrogen bonding also. Formation of what? Hydrogen bonding also occurs here. Okay, one hydrogen bond is formed here. The second hydrogen bond forms here. So it is formed. Okay, so a secondary chelation happens. First chelation is from the ligand itself, and second chelation happens from the hydrogen bonding. So when DMG, that is dimethyl glyoxime, react with Ni2 plus metal ion, then what it will form? It will form a red PPT, very scarlet red PPT, very bright red color is formed. That is one of the word. So the complex formation with DMG, is also a gravimetric method. That how much nickel is present there, that is also present. Remember that. Okay. So draw the structure 3-4 times so that you have a adequate practice to draw the structure of nickel DMG complex. This is very well known question and it is nearly all the times asked in the examination. Similarly, cadmium 2 plus can also be tested in presence of copper 2 plus ion. That is very important, by forming a complex with KCl. Copper forms a complex with Cu. Remember that it is K3 CuCN4. Okay, in some books you will find K2 CuCN4. That will be the wrong answer. Okay, this is the right answer. K3 CuCN4. So it is formed by forming. So when you pass H2S gas, then what will happen? Only cadmium sulfide will precipitate out, but copper will present as its cyanide complex only. So that is the distinguished test to what? Between copper 2 plus ion and cadmium 2 plus ion. During the forming of the complex, the copper becomes +1. That is different story. But remember that in order to identify or distinguish between copper 2 plus and CD2 plus ion, we require the passage of H2S. Cadmium sulfide will give you a black PPT, so it will settle down at the bottom. Okay, while copper complex will remain stable. Similarly, I told you, in order to identify the Fe3 plus ion, potassium ferrocyanide, not ferro, it is ferrocyanide is used. So potassium ferrocyanide is used and it will form a Persian blue color complex. It will form a Persian blue complex. This is the formula of the compound. So you have to understand that in this case what you will do, Okay, you have to understand one thing, that FeCN6 4 negative, okay, and Fe3 plus. So it has a charge of 3, it is a charge of 4. So both will transfer their charge. Okay. So what will happen? Fe4 plus FeCN3 is being formed. That is Persian blue color complex. Very, very important. Remember that same potassium ferrocyanide, that is ferrocyanide, it will form, say, with zinc, it will give you a white blue complex. With copper, it will give you a chocolate color complex. Okay, sure about that or not? And with Fe3 plus, it will give you a Persian blue color complex. Okay, the species same, that is the potassium ferrocyanide. Are you getting that in your mind now? Sure. Similarly, to distinguish between Hg plus Hg mercurius and silver ion, we can use the ammonia as the ligand. Okay, when we add aqueous ammonia to a precipitate of AgCl, Ag2Cl2 and PbCl2, then AgCl will form a complex with ammonia. But Hg2Cl2 and PbCl2 do not form the complex with silver. So that is the method to distinguish between what? Among the group 1 cations. Okay, remember that we already taught you that nickel will form a complex with DMG to form nickel DMG red color complex. Similarly, gravimetric estimation of various ion can be done. Copper will form a complex with benzoin oxime. Fe3 plus will form a complex with 110 phenanthroline. Al3 plus will form 8 hydroxyquinoline, and cobalt 2 plus with alpha nitroso beta naphthol. All these organic reagents that are being used as a ligand to identify the gravimetric estimation of these metal ions, you should be able to memorize this factor also. Okay, these are examination oriented information, so you have to read it 1 or 2, 3 times in order to daily to get placed in your mind. Okay, so this is very, very most, I am repeating once more, the various applications of coordinated compound. This topic has one question definitely. So although it is a theoretical concept, but provided that its vast reach in the overall understanding of the whole chapter, this topic is very, very important. Now, Grignard reagent and several other organometallics are good reagents and useful for synthesis of compounds. Okay, you can see that in the organic chemistry, when we go to that topic, you will see that organic compound or Grignard reagent, is one of the most extensively used synthetic material in nearly all types of organic compound. From alkane to amine, you can prepare anything by using the Grignard reagent. Similarly, tetraethyl lead is an important anti-knocking compound present in the leaded gasoline. Nowadays, it has been banned and replaced by benzene, but earlier tetraethyl lead is used. It is a colorless and strongly smelling liquid, insoluble in water but soluble in ether and petrol, and it is used as an anti-knocking for the motor fuel. When mixed with petrol by 1 part in 1000, it raises the octane number of the petrol and thus preventing the knocking of the engine. Similarly, very, very important is Ziegler's Natta catalyst. Triethyl aluminium in conjugation with titanium trichloride is well-known catalyst, and it is used for the polymerization of various types of alkenes. Similarly, many organic compounds are found to be good catalyst for hydrogenation. Okay, the most prominent will be the what is the Wilkinson catalyst. It is tris-triphenyl phosphine chlorido-rhodium 1 complex, that is known as Wilkinson catalyst. It is used for what? Hydrogenation of the alkenes. Similarly, butyl ethyl lithium or alkyl lithium are excellent catalysts for anionic polymerization. Organoarsenic compounds are used in the disease syphilis, skin disease that is. Ethyl mercury chloride is used to prevent the infection in the plant, and Wilkinson catalyst is used for what? It is a homogeneous catalyst used for the what? Used for the hydrogenation of alkene. And nickel and tetracarbon nickel we already discussed. Now the stability of the complex is of two types. Okay, one is called the thermodynamic stability, the other is called the kinetic stability. The thermodynamic stability deal with the metal ligand bond energy, stability constant, redox potential, and obvious delta G values. So all these values which affects the equilibrium determine the thermodynamic stability. Similarly, kinetic stability is what? Kinetic stability is deal with the rate of the reaction of the complex in the given solution under a given set of conditions. So thermodynamic factor and kinetic factors, they determine two different kinds of the properties of the given complex. Thermodynamic factor states whether a complex is stable complex or unstable complex. What do you mean stable complex? Stable complex, it means in which the penetration complex is that. What is that? In which the stability is very high, delta G value is very negative, or redox potential is very large. Second is normal complex, or they are called as the unstable complex. Similarly, kinetic factors are defined as either the complex is labile or inert. The labile complex is that complex in which the ligands can be replaced very easily, while the inert complexes are those in which the ligands can be replaced with a great difficulty. The stability of the complex is given in the form of the stability constant, that is beta n. Okay, so let us suppose, since you know that addition of the ligands to the central metal atom is a step-by-step process. It is not that all the ligands will add to the central metal atom at once. Just step by step they will add. So in the first step, the first ligand will come and will give you Ml. In the next step, the Ml will accept one more ligand to give you Ml2. So like that, well, third ligand will come. So up to n steps. So if n ligands are there, then there will be n number of steps. For each step, the value of K1 is what? The concentration of product by concentration of the reactant. And in such a manner that, and it is practical observation that K1 is always greater than K2, K3 is always greater than Kn. The reason being that when the first ligand will come, the metal has what? The metal has less number of atom around itself. As the number of ligand increases, the metal ion will repel the approaching ligand both stereo space wise as well as electronically wise. And also with the addition of more and more ligand, the effective positive charge on the metal is also decreases. So when you add up all these factors, you know that from your class 11th that when equation get added, the equilibrium constant value get multiplied. So all these values get multiplied and you will get beta n, that is the overall stability constant of the complex. 1 by K is called the instability complex or instability constant. Now we will talk about the factors on which the stability of the metal carbonyl depends. So let's look at the various factors which affect the stability of the complex. Okay, we will go one by one. Number one is the nature of the central metal atom. Now first we will take into account size of the central metal ion. Smaller the cation, more stable the complex. So if you go by that, the ionic idea is that Mn2 plus size is greater than Fe2 plus size, then Fe cobalt 2 plus, then this. So as we move down, move left to right, what will happen? Up to copper, the size. Again, in case of zinc, what happens? The size is greater than the copper 2 plus ion. So from manganese 2 plus to copper 2 plus, there is decrease in size. Then in case of zinc 2 plus, again there is an increase in size. So order of stability also follows the same order. That Mn2 plus forms the least stable and copper 2 plus forms the most stable complex in this case. Okay, this stability rule is called as Irving-Williams order of the stability. Then we have the charge on the central metal atom. So higher the charge on the central metal atom, more will be the complex stability. So Fe3 plus forms more stable complex than Fe2 plus. Similarly, nickel 4 plus will form more stable complex than nickel 2 plus. Platinum plus 4 will form more stable complex than platinum 2 plus. Okay, cobalt 3 plus will form more stable complex than cobalt 2 plus. So all these things you have to keep in your mind. Next is about the electronic configuration of the metal ion. In the case when the charge density of the ion is roughly same, the stability is explained by the electronic configuration. The complex or the metal ion which possesses the inert gas configuration and pseudo-inert gas configuration and pseudo-inert gas plus 2 configuration. Okay, then what we are observing here that the complex possessing inert gas and pseudo-inert gas, okay, are more stable in comparison to what? In comparison to pseudo-noble gas plus 2 electronic configuration. So what you have obtained that D1 more stable than D2, D2 more stable than D3, D3 is more stable than D4. Then D4 is more stable than D5 up to that. Now again here output D8 is more stable than D9, while D9 is less stable than what D10. So this D3 greater than D4 and D8 greater than D9 is based on John-Taylor effect and beyond the scope. What do you mean by that? Actually, John-Taylor effect means it is the double splitting. That is square planar splitting. The electronegativity of the central metal ion. Higher the electronegativity of the central metal atom, higher is the stability of the complex. That is why copper plus 1 and cadmium 2 plus are more stable than Na plus and Ca2 plus complex. Nature of the ligand, charge and size of the ligand. Now smaller the ligand can approach the metal ion more closely, than more stable is the complex. Okay, that is for that fluoride ions are able to form more stable complex for the class A metals. The class A metal include what they are? They are scandium to chromium and aluminium to, let us suppose, chlorine, then zinc to bromine, indium, tin and iodine. While class B elements are what? They are rhodium, palladium, silver, iridium, platinum, silver and mercury. So actually they don't have anything to say at the level in which you are now being taught. But metal A and metal B are different classes of the metals. We will discuss this later on when we go for the advanced study. Basic strength of ligand. So more basic is the ligand, then more is the stability of the complex. That is why fluoride anion is gives more stable complex than bromide and iodide. Next is the dipole moment of the ligand. Higher the dipole moment of the neutral ligand, more is the stability. For example, ammonia has more dipole moment than ethylamine, which has more dipole moment than diethylamine, and which has more than triethylamine. So ammonia will form more stable ligand than the ethylamine or secondary or tertiary amines. Similarly, ligand which can form pi bond like cyanide, carbon monoxide, nitrosyl, triphenyl phosphine, trialkyl arsine, or dialkyl sulfurs. They are able to form more stable complex because in their anti-bonding MO they are able to accept the electron given by the metal atom, and not the least chelating effect and macrocyclic effect. Okay, a ligand which can form the chelate has more stability. We have already discussed it on a very broad level in the chelation effect, so please go through that video. Then the last we have the macrocyclic effect. In a multi-dentate ligand is called cyclic, then there is no considerable steric effect. So like you have porphyrin in case of hemoglobin, okay, that will give you high stability because it is already a cyclic closed ring. Now consider these. Here in this ligand also 4 nitrogen atoms are electron donating, but they are forming a cyclic ring. Here in the second complex you have 4 different nitrogen atoms, but in that case it is non-cyclic. Then what can you have? Since the cyclic ligand is able to form more stable complex than a non-cyclic ligand. Okay, so the closed ring that is formed by a cyclic ligand is called as macrocyclic effect. It's called macrocyclic effect. I am repeating once more. It is, if a multi-dentate ligand is cyclic, then there is no steric effect it will show. Then the complex formed is very highly stable than an acyclic ligand, and that is called macrocyclic effect. It increases the thermodynamic stability of the complex. Okay, when zinc form complex, it will form a more stable complex with ligand 1 than in comparison to ligand 2.